The new seasonal servers are kind of bad. I like that AGS is trying something new, but it feels weird that after years of abandoning PvP, especially after the change in focus from PvP upon initial release, it feels weird that after years of focusing on PvE and redoing the story and adding more PvE stuff, they decided to focus on PvP, or at least minus bringing in the raid with season 6, almost exclusively bring in new PvP content in season 6 and 7. And honestly, it feels even weirder that both of their attempts were basically flops. It's not that PvP in the game is a flop, but instead the way that they are implementing the changes is just bad. PvP Island was a good idea, but it needs to be more centralized in the middle of the map, not shucked down to the bottom of the map. Put it somewhere like Everfall. And also, there needs to be more rewards or a bigger reason to go there. I've mentioned this in other videos, but amping up the resources would be one great way. Restricting the resources to only be received by PvP would be another good way. But additionally, going an entirely different route, I would love if there was a special resource that dropped in the zone that companies needed to farm each week in order to maintain control of their cities. This resource would encourage people to go into the zone and farm for it. We could also even take it one step further and have those resources only be available for a few hours a day, and even restrict them to certain zones. This would force companies to have to come together, have a nightly event where they come together and have to split their resources, possibly between a war and farming these resources as a company in order to maintain control of a region. So not only do you as a company have the threat of somebody doing a race to take ownership of your zone, but also you have to farm resources to spend those resources to maintain it. Otherwise, you can lose control that way as well. They could have done so many great things with the PvP zone, but just turning on PvP in the zone and having a special resource is not enough, especially when somebody doesn't even have to go into the zone and can farm 700 of those resources every single day by opening chests outside the zone. So that would be the way to actually handle a PvP zone in the current game. As for the PvP server, it was a really good try on their part, but let's dive into that. And I want to cover the things that they did right, which aren't very many, and the things that they did wrong, which in my opinion are a lot. Be sure to let me know down below the things that I've missed. I'm just giving my broad opinion here, and I'm sure I'll miss something, but let's open up a discussion down below and let other people know as well. So let's start off by outlining the goods. The first good thing that I would say is that the leveling experience is pretty quick. You unlock your mount automatically, and honestly, the best change they made is choosing your faction when you start the game. I think that is very important, and removing the level restriction on factions would be great. I want to say when the game first came out, or maybe in a beta, the faction was unlocked at level 10, and that felt really good. Unlocking it as soon as you make your character feels even better. Being able to immediately jump into faction-based stuff as soon as you start the game is awesome. And I know it's a short list, but when it comes to the Ethereal and Conqueror gear, I feel like that's a good move. I like the idea of the gear being broken and testing the limits. And overall, I really enjoy the ease that you can craft this gear, making it to where people can get into some really powerful gear very quickly. Overall, I really like the gear. I like the way they implemented it. I'm kind of questioning whether it should not drop in activities, but I understand that they had to do that because then the gear would be dropping in cross-play activities, so it could be dropping and leaking into other servers, so they had to do that. I get it. But being able to cheese the system, make this amazing gear, and then go into cross-server activities with it seems weird. So I will classify that as a good, but it's got a little bit of bad that goes along with that. To pump out the bad things real quick and then we can dissect them further, The first bad thing is that the main story quest line is required. That seems like the biggest oversight of the entire PvP server release. Forcing people to have to go through the story all the way through Brimstone Sands to unlock the Elysian Wilds, in addition to just unlocking their staff so they can do expeditions, is so astronomically dumb I can't even fathom it. When I start my character, just like in Diablo when I start a seasonal character, I should be able to fast forward completely through the main story quest line, unlock everything, and be able to jump straight into the game and play the game how I want. I should not have to go and farm the main story quest line to unlock my staff and to unlock a zone. We'll get into that more in just a minute, but let's keep going. PvP in the open world does not give you anything. I would love it if instead of grinding quests or chopping down trees to level, I was able to get 1,000 experience for killing a player, or even 10,000 experience for killing a player. I understand it opens up the option of people being able to farm that and cheat for it, but maybe there could be a cooldown where you can't kill the same person and get experience unless you kill them every 30 minutes. There could be restrictions, but more experience should be given for PvP. The third bad thing is that no events were scheduled at the start of the server. There should have been capture the flag or zones that we had to capture to be able to give us huge boosts of experience, encouraging players to stay inside of the zone for longer and join together with other players to be able to hold the zones and get a huge amount of experience. There should be events that were going on. Having said that, nightly races did start pretty quick. I think that was a good move, with people buying up zones very early. Being able to jump into those nightly races was great, but not having specifically formulated events that people could jump in and immediately start was really bad. Next point is I don't think people should be able to level up with PvE on a PvP server, or at least it shouldn't be more efficient to level up with PvE over PvP on a PvP server. There was a joke going around on the server in the early days, the first few days of release, where the only PvP that was occurring was trying to prevent other people from farming all the trees that you were trying to farm. And that's ridiculous. Next point is that breaking down Conqueror gear should not reward you with ethereal dust. The same thing you get for chopping down trees and breaking down ethereal gear. It should reward you with wraithstones. Wrathstones? Whatever they're called. I understand that opens up people to be able to buy gear off of the store and then obtain wrathstones by going to the trade house, and they don't want that because they want people to go out and have to earn them. I get it, it's a loophole they're trying to prevent, but it is stupid that if I break down a Conqueror gear that I earn in a battle, I should be given wraithstones for it. Wrathstones? Whatever. And my last bad thing that I have is, again, back to the overall leveling experience. I think there's an overall argument that could be made that we should just start the server at max level. Start us off, no need for the main story quest, no need to level. We all start at 65. We all start with 0 for our trade skills, and we have to slowly grind our way up on gear, fight our way through. PvP should immediately be started on the beach. Everybody's fighting just to get off the beach. That would have been awesome. That would have been an amazing experience. I really feel like that was another missed thing that they could have gotten into. Again, I want to recap and say that overall, I like that they're trying new things. I like that they're bringing in new stuff to the server. I just think that whoever designed this missed a few things. And I don't want to go out there and say what a lot of people are saying, which is, the developers aren't playing their own game. I honestly think the developers do play the game, and I think they love the game. I just think they're missing the mark on what their players want. They think people love OPR and are playing OPR more than any other mode because they love it, when in all reality, people are defaulting to OPR because it's the only thing they can do. When it comes to the new server, forcing people to replay through the levels and replay through the main story quest line is going to be the biggest detractor for anybody jumping on this server and giving it a try. The second detractor is people losing their gear set and not having their amazing gear. And honestly, I think that was already solved with Conqueror and Ethereal gear. The ability to pick up that gear so quickly is amazing. Right off the bat, you gave people powerful gear that has awesome abilities. You locked it behind level 20, so it's not that much of a grind to get it. But if everybody was already locked at 65, the main story questline was done, and we immediately got to jump into grinding for gear and having fun killing each other and having these events that we were centralized around, forcing people to grind for a special currency so that they could buy zones instead of using gold, or maybe gold drops when you kill people. Again, I understand there's a way that you can farm and exploit it, but there has to be a better way to encourage PvP on a PvP server other than I enjoy PvP and I just want to fight everybody I see. Because at one point that breaks down and people don't do it because there's no reward. At this point, I've been doing the nightly races and I've been doing open world PvP and I've been playing arena and OPR and all these events. The only time I see other people using Ethereal or Conqueror's gear is in activities. It has been so long since I have picked up an Ethereal or a Conqueror piece of gear from killing somebody in the open world. It is not happening. So no one is actually using this gear in the open world combat. I believe the reason why is because it is all risk with no reward. You gain a slight advantage in battle to where you get the edge in a 1v1 if you're using the gear and the other person is not. But at that point, you are risking losing this very expensive gear to replace, and the benefit is nothing for killing the other person. I don't really know the solution there, because by the time you're really dueling and doing all that stuff, you're probably level 65, which honestly, I think everybody should be 65 anyways. But there should be a reason outside of dropping ethereal gear for you to do PvP. And honestly, I think the play might be that everything in your inventory has to drop when you die. But I don't see them doing that. And I think that mostly is because the game model for New World doesn't add up with that kind of a model, but there's got to be a better solution. The PvP track is definitely not the reward because people are not even getting artifacts from that. So really, I think clout is about the only answer for it here, and I don't know if that's enough to motivate people. And guys, honestly, that is really my overall thoughts on it. I want to say it one more time just to iron it home, that I love that they're trying new things. As much as people call New World a dead game, it's nice to at least see the developers are trying to make moves to bring people in and to have them have new experiences. It's really great to see. Having said that, there needs to be some major changes that are not just done to these new PvP or seasonal worlds, I should say, since they're not all PvP, but there needs to be some major changes that are done to the base game as well. And bringing in new expeditions or another raid or a new OPR map is not the answer. Y'all let me know down below your thoughts on this whole topic. I don't know if AGS watches YouTube videos, but maybe somebody could actually watch this thing and we could get some positive changes made to the game. Something to actually keep people around. Thanks for sticking around. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Can't wait to see y'all in the next one.